for joining us on the Menorah Podcast. We have another special guest for you today. I don't have my lovely bride with me, but we have the Honorable Reverend Brady Henderson with us today. Rev, good to have you back, man.
I'm back. Man, I'm so glad to be back on here, Alan, and appreciate all you've done, and Sherelle, and all your guests that you've had since I've been gone. I haven't missed an episode. I listened during my sabbatical, which I'm sure you'll get to that, but man, I'm just so glad to be back. And at the time we're recording this, we had an awesome Easter here at First Baptist, and off air, you and I were talking. I don't think you mind me sharing. I think it's safe to say it was in the top 3 maybe of all the Easters you've had here.
Yeah, it was a great year. This was my 63rd. So
Wow. 63 Easters at one church. I could only wish, but God's called me to a different path, and That's how it goes. But speaking of that, when God calls us, I'm just so glad to be back. You know, went through wilderness. I'm sure we'll get through that. Obviously, without stealing Alan's thunder, this is going to be a multi-part. We're not going to get all this on one, but so you'll have to wait till next Thursday. But man, I'm just so glad to be back. Yesterday was just such a blessing. 476 people were on our campus yesterday, and that's through 2 services. The first service 170, the second service 308. You know, and that doesn't include the overlaps that were at both. That's different individuals, and so it's just really awesome. Sunday school was great, and just to see God move, and just to see the church be the church while I was gone, that was great. You know, you guys don't need me, as you always say, one monkey don't stop no show, and that was true. But man, it's just such a blessing, and I'm happy to be back on the podcast. Maybe one day I'll resume my leadership role, but for now, I'm just happy to be interviewed, as I've been easing back into pretty much every area that I used to be while dropping quite a few of them. One thing that I'm not doing as much anymore, you know, I'm still checking on people via the phone. That's one of our greatest resources, but I'm not as in the hospitals as I once was. I don't think people realize, Alan, that I lived there. I don't think people understood that. So it's not me saying that I don't visit anymore. It's me saying I don't spend 40 hours at the hospital anymore. That's what I'm saying now.
And it's very easy to do that. I, as an active deacon, have a list of people that I try to keep an eye on, and it's sometimes, you know, you can go months without going to the hospital.
Yeah.
And sometimes you're there every day for a week, and you don't see the same person twice.
Yeah, and you don't see your family and all that. And so I'm trying to find my new normal still, but I don't want to steal your thunder. I know you got a lot of questions, but I just wanted to open up and say I'm so excited to be back. I missed you all, but it was imperative for me to go through that in order to be where we're at now. Like, you know, this Sunday, we're opening up a brand new sermon series. We're starting our building fund that launches Sunday. You'll hear more about that this Sunday, but God's just got so much for us, and I wouldn't be here to be able to be a part of it if I hadn't gone through that time. So, man, you're hosting this, so you go ahead and feel free to ask me what you want.
Well, everybody that I've at least talked with or has talked with me, I think are in agreement. We are happy to have you back, and I don't think you would mind me sharing that I wasn't sure when we left that meeting.
Yeah.
I felt like that we didn't say you couldn't come back, and you didn't say you weren't coming back.
Yeah.
So we just kind of we left that up to the Lord, and once again, he is. Gosh, I told Mike, I said, what do you think we could accomplish for the kingdom if God didn't have to fix us all the time?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
You know, if we were obedient, if we did what we were supposed to, the things he could accomplish with just one person. I think the first question that most people would have is, are you all right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think everybody was really concerned about that, and I think most people kind of was not surprised.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and I want to, before I answer that, you know, bookmark that, I want to take it back to that Tuesday and kind of flip the tables on you for a second. You know, when I texted you guys the night before and talk with y'all, to talk with y'all and everything, when I showed up that day, I mean, you want to talk about fumes? Whatever's below fumes, that's where I was. I don't even know if there's a term for that, but
and it showed.
Yeah.
I mean, it was the weight of the world kind of thing for me.
Yeah, I just, you were in the computer in the room across from me working on some media stuff and working and everything, and we were getting ready to meet. And I just want to know from your perspective, not knowing what was getting ready to come down the pipe, you get in that room and it's like, what's going through your mind?
Well, I really didn't know. We were finishing up our IT transition that morning. That was a prearranged date that I had up here, and it worked out good because I think you wanted to meet at 11. I think that was our conference call was at 10:30, and they usually take about 15, 20 minutes depending on what's outstanding. Wasn't too bad, and I suspected, mainly because of who I saw on the text, I suspected it was something pretty heavy, but I had no idea.
Yeah. So even as close as you and I were, you didn't really know what was coming. Yeah. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's the thing about burnout that I kind of want to touch on is, and I've always been, and I mean, this is a completely vulnerable podcast, so, I'm not holding anything back. I have nothing to hold back now that I've been through this, because I really hope other pastors are listening, because I know, and I think I can say this confidently, I know my God loves me, I know my church loves me, and I know my family loves me. And those three are the most important, okay? And so since I've come back, I've received nothing but love from my church family, and it has been an organic love, but it has been a conscientious love, like, hey, I don't want you to do this, not because I'm telling you what to do, but because I know your personality, and I know you, and I love you, and I care about you. And see, as a pastor, I have to do that with other people. I have to say, look, that might not be a good idea. There might be a wolf behind that door. There might be a sheep behind that door. And I have to help people learn how to exercise discernment, which I enjoy. But now on the flip side, that I've gone through this, my church family is now doing that with me. And not just as the pastor, but as a fellow Christian, as a fellow sheep in the flock. And I want other pastors that are listening to this to know that you are not as big and bad as you think you are. I'm not as big and bad as I thought I was. I'm not saying I don't still struggle with pride. Any man that doesn't tell you he struggles with pride definitely is struggling with it. But I think for me, I had the personality where I felt like there was nothing that I couldn't do. And we joke about it all the time, Hannah and I and you and all the media people. They call me the one-take wonder or whatever, and I've always been in front of a camera. I've always done that stuff. I've never had any challenges I felt like I couldn't face. But this was one I couldn't face, but I wouldn't admit it. I wouldn't admit it to my wife. I wouldn't admit it to you, my best friend, and other best friends. Nobody knew except me and God. And on that Sunday, I don't remember which one it was, the date, but that Sunday that I preached, and I'm shaking now just thinking about it, that Sunday that I preached, I knew in my mind. I said, look, I don't know how this is going to go, but I know this is it. So I brought out that table, and I brought out those papers, and I let it all hang out, as the song says. And because I didn't think I was coming back. In my mind, and nobody else knew it, not even Hannah, which was a total disservice to her. Nobody else knew it but me. And I pretty much said, this is it. And that Monday, I didn't come to you guys on a Monday, because there's a famous line in preacher world: whatever you do, don't resign on a Monday. Go take a walk, go fishing, go do something, but don't resign on a Monday. So I didn't resign on Monday. I actually got physically sick. You might remember that.
I do.
I got physically sick on Monday, had to go to the doctor. I played it off like I had a stomach bug. I knew what was going on. My spirit and my flesh were in combat mode, and my body couldn't handle it. So I threw up all day, threw up all night, met with you guys, knew that what I wanted to do when I met with you guys was I wanted to say, look, I'm resigning, and there's nothing you can do to convince me. But looking at you, Mike, and Dwayne Johnson, I couldn't. I didn't have the strength to go that far. So I humbly asked for a sabbatical, and you guys showed great love, and I took 30 days, and it was me and God, and here's the thing, I completely lost myself. And here's the other thing, you don't have to be in ministry to experience burnout.
Oh, no, you can do that in just about every field. You just get overwhelmed with what's going on, in your own world. And you feel like, and a lot of times, I know most of the times for me, it's self-imposed pressure.
Expectations. Yeah. And that's where it came from for me. And I tell you the truth, I've been here 4.5 years going on 5, and I can remember being here 3 months and people coming to me and saying, whoa, man, your expectations are way too high of yourself. Mm-hmm. Some wise people who have come to me, and they have come to me over the years, and they have come to me and they have said, hey, you need to slow down. Hey, you need to slow down. And I didn't listen. And so that's 100% on me. But at the same time, there are some people, and I'm one of them, where we have to learn the hard way. And I am not using that as a badge of honor. That is not necessarily a good thing. But there are some people where God has to really get your attention. And sadly, I am one of those individuals. But I think, in my opinion, I am so much better right now for having gone through that.
Well, I think anytime we can get on a mountaintop from a valley, I think you appreciate that valley so much more once you're on the mountaintop and once you have seen some of the things that you learned in those valleys. And would be, I'm probably one of those folks that said, you just need to chill out for a little bit. And there's things that need a pastor's intervention. And one of the things that I've seen over the course of your time here is your burden for the lost, helping us to share that burden with you is important. But you don't necessarily have to be to every meeting that we have.
Yep.
You don't necessarily have to lead every bit. I was telling somebody, I can't remember who it was now, about family matters. Mm-hmm. We have needed that for so long. I was amazed at how well attended, how serious the folks have taken it that were in it. Mm-hmm. And that is I think the involvement of those younger folks in our church, in our Sunday schools, in our all of our services and stuff like that, I think that is a direct result of saying, hey, this is what you should be doing.
Yeah. And I mean, that aligns up with Ephesians 4, right? Where it says that I'm supposed to equip the saints for the work of the ministry. And there's a lot more equipping I want to do, but man, we got to give Steve and the deacons a lot of bragging. Since I've come back, Steve and the deacons have continued with the pastoral care aspect. And it doesn't, I don't want anybody to hear this and say, well, he doesn't care about the people anymore. No, it doesn't mean that at all. I care about you and I love you to death. But the best pastoral care that I can give you as a senior pastor is from the pulpit. Mm-hmm. That is the best kind of pastoral care that I can give you. Because biblically, the deacons are supposed to come alongside you and help with those needs and things and all of that. And I love our people. I mean, that's one thing I really miss. But at the same time, there is a huge difference in doing pastoral care out of my biblical calling and doing pastoral care out of people pleasing. Mm-hmm. Two totally different. If I'm making a visit just so somebody doesn't get mad, I don't need to make that visit because I don't have the right intentions.
And most of the times, to be honest with you, most people do that kind of stuff. There's been times when I've gone to the hospital. It's like God literally dragging me up there on a leash.
Yeah.
Sometimes your dog doesn't want to cooperate, but you need it to. And
I know a little bit about that.
Yeah, you get up there and you say, okay, I'm going in here. I'm going to just preliminaries, do a prayer, and I'm leaving. And you get in there, and it's such a fulfilling visit. It ends up doing me more good probably than it does them. So, and you have to remember, those guys are oftentimes going through some pretty difficult times in their lives. And that is your opportunity to show Christ to them. That is your ministry to them. Is all they need to know is you care.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, I agree. So, well, we've talked a little bit. Really, we've kind of given an overview. Next week, take some time. I want you to come up with some questions and just some things, because we kind of gave everybody an overview. Speaking of Family Matters, Alan mentioned it, so I'm going to give a slight little plug there. You can sign up this Sunday if you didn't sign up last night for Family Matters 1.0. So Family Matters 1.0 is going to be on Thursday, May the 8th. And so I believe that's the 6:30 time. And so if you have never taken Family Matters before, and it does not have to be a church member, I repeat, you do not have to be a church member. You can be from another church. You can be from another county. You can be from another state. If you want to come and attend this conference, please come and do that. You do not have to pay for it. Just sign up, and we'll take care of the rest, including food, curriculum, shirts, all of that information. If you are interested in baby dedication on Mother's Day Sunday this year, you do need to take Family Matters 1.0, so you do need to go ahead and sign up for that. Okay, well, you want me to do the ending, or you want to do it?
I want you to do it. I tell you, that was the hardest phrase for me to get out. So I'm glad to have you back doing that.
Well, let me wrap it up for us. You've been listening to the Menorah Podcast. If you haven't already, please like us, subscribe on Buzzsprout, YouTube, Amazon Music. We'd love to have you on all those platforms. And we will see you next Thursday, as this has been episode 61 of the Menorah Podcast, the podcast that seeks to share the light, speak the light, and send the light of Jesus Christ all across the airwaves of the internet. Thanks, guys. It's good to be back, and we will see you Sunday.